Hello, my name is Clarice Abbott. This video is for class NCRP Skills, Concepts, and Tools 500. The case study I did was Fighting Among Friends by Vernon Cavey, which explains the separation of the Quakers in 1827. I will use three theories to explain and analyze the conflict, and the three are Morton Dutch's Cooperation and Competition, Johnson & Johnson's torture votes, constructive controversy, and John Burton's prevention. The video will be a little choppy because this is my first time doing this, but I'm gonna go at it.
In West Philadelphia, born and raised on the playground is where I spent most of
The separation happened in 1827 at one of the yearly meetings because the Orthodox didn't like what happened at a previous meeting with the minister Hicks because he tried to force his mystical beliefs and liberal teachings to the Quakers. So they banned any of the ministers that had the same beliefs as him from talking at any of the yearly meetings. The Quakers eventually grew separate from each other in their class, education, geographical boundaries, religious emphasis, political alliance, and kinship groupings, and in beliefs about what were acceptable levels of power and intragroup conflict. When they grew separate, they held different meetings and lived in different areas. Before, when the Quakers would get into it, would have conflict, they would go to the older Quakers to solve their issue. But because this was in an in-group conflict, they couldn't trust each other. So the Quakers separated into two groups, the Hicksites and the Orthodox. The Hicksites were more liberal political ideologies and devoted to mystical position. They believed that the Orthodox were interrupting the doctrine to fit their own needs and take in power of the Quakers because the Orthodox had money. They also felt that the Orthodox were not standing firm on their anti-slavery by not boycotting slavery labor products. The Orthodox, on the other hand, was more of an old Christian way. They wanted to keep the old ways of the Quakers that believed in God and not mystical beliefs. So now we're going to jump into the theories. The first theory is Cooperation, Competition, and Conflict by Morton Dutch. The theory has two basic ideas. One relates to the type of interdependence among goals of people involved in a given situation. The other pertains to the type of action that the people involved take. This conflict fits in the theory because the Quakers' independence of goals was that they wanted religious freedom from England because they believed that the church was too hypocritical. They wanted to live a peaceful life. The theory is effective at analyzing a conflict because once the conflict has been found out, it can be cooperation or competition orientation. This conflict has a competition orientation because everyone had different goals of where the Quakers should go as far as religion. They also show characteristics of competition process like communication is impaired as the conflict parties seek to gain advantage by misleading the others through use of false promises and disinformation, and the conflicting parties seek to enhance their own power and reduce the power of others. The Orthodox took action by showing favoritism towards some leaders by letting them speak at the annual meeting, but other leaders they didn't like were not allowed to speak. They were showing that they were in charge of these meetings, so this was a breaking point for the Hicksites that branched off. The theory could not bring a solution to the conflict. In the case of the Quakers, if they would have stayed together, it could be destructive. Also, we cannot assume that conflict is always negative or destructive. The resolution of conflict is not always desirable for healthy functioning of a group. Parties felt there was a need for change and were motivated or willing to go to the table either to share the power or to maintain low power status. Theory is Johnson & Johnson interpretables constructive controversy. Constructive controversy exists when one person's ideas, information, conclusions, theories, and other opinions are incompatible with those of another, and they seek to reach an agreement. The theory fits in conflict resolution, but it does not fit in the Quakers' conflict. The Quakers' conflict did not reach a positive agreement. Therefore, the two Quaker groups had incompatible conclusions and opinions, like the Hicksites wanted to be liberal, but the Orthodox didn't want the Quakers to be liberal. They did split, and it wasn't an agreement that they just started to hold different meetings. The theory could not be used to solve the conflict because constructive controversy requires that all parties are in agreement. If the Quakers would have reached a positive goal, like the theory says, they would have to agree to the majority. In the theory, everyone has to vote and conform to the majority without complaining. This would mean that the Hicksites or the Orthodox will have to give up their beliefs. For example, the whole Quaker society will now be liberal and believe in mystical beliefs like the Hicksites, or stay with the old ways like the Orthodox. Burden's prevention is the last theory. Prevention is doing something about sources before the cause of conflict with historical prediction. This theory fits with the conflict because in the end, the author figured out that the bigger picture to the conflict was staying together. If they stayed together, it would have caused a bigger issue. They got the historical data from the Middleton 1929, where Kirchberg's conflict models says it related to contextual conditions, threats to identity, conflict emergence, and then escalation and outcome. The separation, although many would prefer that it didn't happen, was an intervention of sorts, a ceasefire, a settlement that prevented violence. So, in the end, the best theory for this was prevention by Burden, because worse things could have happened than just a separation of two groups, even though that they weren't talking and things could have went better, but in the end, it could have been the loss of lives and more bad things.